I gotta write stuff down now. I can't remember it. Mike Riley, alcoholic. Hey, thanks, Wade. That was really inspiring. Thanks. We're glad you're back. I did kind of trick him coming down. So I was kind of a late bloomer. I didn't start drinking much till 6th grade. And it kind of went downhill from there. I was always the guy that could outdrink everybody. Had this amazing capacity for alcohol. End of the night, everybody'd be passed out, and I'd go around and drink all their beers and all that stuff. And then every once in a while in the beginning, I'd do something really stupid or weird. I'd take off all my clothes and run into Puget Sound, something. But as the disease of alcoholism progressed, that stuff became more and more and more frequent till I was Jekyll and Hyde. And then I knew what it was from. So I went to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'd been living in a car for 2 years. And I got a message there that said, hey, we're in Northwest Treatment Center. We can't have sugar. Will you sneak us in a 6-pack of Coca-Cola to this address? I didn't know what it was. So I went there. There was a meeting called Lake City Young People's. And there was a guy there, Ed J., and I had hair to my waist. I had warrants out in a couple states. I didn't smell good. I hadn't had a shower in a couple months. But this guy told my story, and I went up to him afterwards, and he had filled out a schedule for me of all the meetings he went to. And he said, at this one, they have sandwiches for lunch. I said, well, that's my new home group. That's how I got to Fremont Hall. I went to Fremont Hall, and Al comes up to me and says, hey, how you doing? I'm going to be your sponsor. I didn't know what he was talking about. He just said, hey, here's how it works. You sit down, you don't talk, I tell you what to say. And I said, who's this guy? What's going on here? He said, just remember this, you don't know shit. You don't know shit, and don't think you got yourself here. So he said, I want you to go to as many meetings as often as you drink. I said, okay. So I went to 700 meetings that year. So that was noon, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and the Hooter on the weekends. And Al was at every one of them. And every time I'd come up the hall, Al was always there. And his deal was then, he'd say, any miracles? You have any miracles today? I said, what? Do you have any miracles today? I said, what are you talking about? He said, hold up your hands. I hold up my hands. He goes, you got 10 fingers and 10 toes, don't you? Let's just start there. The next day, he'd say, any miracles today? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, you're sleeping inside, aren't you? And he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And he would talk really simply, but later on I realized he was actually saying something. He was actually trying to show me how the glass was half full and not necessarily half empty. And one time he took out a sheet of paper and he says, I was starting to talk, and he said, hey, remember what? You don't know shit? Here, come here. Takes out a sheet of paper, he draws a line down the middle of it. He said, on this side, puts a bunch of dots on this side. He said, this is what you know about alcoholism. He said, there's a blank side. He said, this is what you know about sobriety. Nothing. Go sit down and be quiet. I mean, I started thinking, does this guy know who he's talking to? He knew exactly who he was talking to. He was talking to himself. That's what he was doing. I had been he told me if you have a living mother, money in the bank, or a watch, your chances are less than average of staying sober. So, anyways, he told me to tell my drunk log enough times, so if that ever felt like drinking again, like Wade did, that baby'd fire off like a videotape, and I'd remember what that shit did to me. Not the blonde in the bar, the cocaine and laying on the floor and all that stuff. So that's what I've been doing I came to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, April 22nd, 1980. I haven't had a drink since, and I attribute that to not drinking. And Al's really been a living example for me constantly. Every day, pretty much, I still stay in touch with him every single day. And he'll say something that'll just, like yesterday, he said, what'd you say yesterday?
No Narcan.
No Narcan for DTs. That's what he said. That's my big deal. So, anyways, Al got me into service. Back in '83, King County still had a treatment center. It's called Cedar Hills. And so Al got me into, he said, hey, we're going to a meeting, just like I did to Wade tonight. And so we're in the car, we're going, I said, where are we going? He said, don't worry about it. We get out there, we're sitting in the front row, Al's the secretary of the meeting, I find out. And he says, we're really lucky tonight to have a new guy from Fremont Hall here talking. And I'm looking around, and it was me. There's 300 people in the room. I didn't know, he hadn't let me talk yet. I didn't know what to say. Anyway, so it was really good for me. But he told me to listen for the similarities in people's talks and not the differences. And that's what I started doing. I guess it was about 3 years sober, I was running a meeting up on East Minor. King County had their own detox up there. Dutch went up there. I don't know if you guys remember Dutch, but anyways, I was running a meeting and everybody's in detox and they're all shaking. And there was a guy sitting in there and he had monogram shirts. So I went over to him and sat down and I said, hey, how you doing? I actually had a business card because I was doing a job then. And I gave him my card and talked to him for a while. It seemed okay. I guess it was about 2 months later, my phone rang and he says, hey, Mike, this is George Hiddleston. He said, I don't know if you remember me. I said, I remember you had monogram shirts. He said, yeah, I did. He said, I don't know what happened. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what he said to me. He said, I don't know what happened that night. You ran that meeting. He said, but I had a spiritual awakening in that meeting. It hasn't been necessary for me to drink since. But when I got out, I went and found my friend, Dr. Mylans, and we bought a treatment center together. And I'd like you to come out and run the meetings at Mylans Treatment Center every Wednesday night, just like you did up at East Minor. And so that's how I started. I was there every Wednesday night for 17 years. And that's a lot of new people. That's a lot of new people listen to stories, yeah, but, and all that stuff. So no, it was really good for me. And I helped him sober up all of his kids, like John helped him. And so about this time, it's about 3 years sober, I met my wife. Now Mary comes into Fremont Hall. We're all over on this side. Non-smoking's over there. Mary goes around, sits in a non-smoking section and smokes. Okay? I like her already. She's got a purple mohawk about like this, purple and pink. Just, I mean, beautiful. And I really felt God saying, that's the woman for you. And there was this lady sitting next to me. We called her Spud. She was from Idaho. And I said, hey, I think that's the woman for me. And she got up and moved chairs. She said, there's something wrong with that. Anyways. So we hit it off. And this is John's favorite story. So we're leaving Fremont one day, and we're going across the sidewalk. And John's in his car there, and he rolls down his window, and he says, hey, Mike, how you doing? And I said, John, this is Mary. We're going to get married. And John rolled the window up on me. He did. He just said, I'll see you, Mike. And next month, we've been married 39 years. So who knows? You know, who knows, really? I mean, there were people betting money. So one of the main things I've gotten, I was writing a bunch of notes today, and one of the main things that I've really gotten from Alcoholics Anonymous is we have 3 kids. None of them have ever seen me drink. None of my kids have ever seen me drink. And all my kids have grown and experienced and been to a million meetings in Alcoholics Anonymous. My son, who drinks maybe periodically or something, I says, hey, how come you don't drink? He said, what? And I said, you got my DNA, what's the deal? He said, yeah, you scared the shit out of me, taking me to all those meetings at Highlanders and down at Fremont Hall and all those people that were jumped off the Aurora Bridge and all that shit. I'm not drinking. So it worked. So to me, most of the lessons of Alcoholics Anonymous, besides the 12 steps and all that, are the people. The people that we meet especially when we're brand new, it's kind of amazing the people that you sober up with, like in Fremont Hall. I can go around and name every person that sat at that table, and Al and John and just everybody. And at first I listened to their stories. I stared at the floor for about 6 months and remembered everybody what kind of shoes they wore. But at first I listened to their stories because I thought I'd really drank more than any of you people. You know, what did I have to learn? But getting to know the people and seeing them overcome whatever thing was happening in their life really gave me, as I got sober more, 2 and 3 and 4 years sober, and I'd see this person, their spouse had died, and how they handled it and what they dealt with and how AA surrounded them. It kind of just changed what the people in Alcoholics Anonymous have really, I'm still inspired even to this day. So some of the stories, like John's, John was the first adult male that actually listened to me. I was pretty nuts. I was going through DTs, long hair, and I went up to John and he looked me in the eye. And he wasn't looking over my shoulder to see if any women were coming. He was actually listening. And I learned how to listen here. I didn't know that there was a difference between hearing and listening. This is where I really learned how to listen to people and what they were really saying. They were talking to me about their experience. So that was really good for me. So John told me if I said this story, he was going to kill me. Before he died, if you ever tell anybody this, I'm going to kill you. I said, okay. So I went to John one time and I said, hey, John, I think I could sell cars. And John had a little car lot. And he said, man, you're right on time. That's what he mean. He said, I'm getting ready to retire. And he said, I want to do something, but you can't tell anybody. I said, why? He said, I'm going to give you the car lot. I'm going to give you all the cars. I'm going to give you all the titles to all the cars. I'm going to give you my bond and insurance and the rent payment, and don't fuck it up. And he went away, and every time I'd call on one of his cars, I'd say, John, I got a guy down here on this old truck that's got $3,000 and wants to sell. He said, I really want 4, Mike. And I never sold one of John's cars because he kept raising the price after it was gone. So anyways, John, you don't have to comment. That was a big step in my future. You really pushed me in the future, and I know that you trusted me because nobody, after I was a car dealer for a long time, nobody gives their bond away. Nobody lets somebody have their insurance. So I don't know what you saw, but thank you. So many people have taken such a special place in my life. I can't even begin to tell you. So, one day at a time to the present. What's going on? Where did we get to? And I got to God could and would if He were sought. That's in the book. What's that mean? And it says in the big book, it says if we draw near to Him, then He appears, becomes able to see us. So, what's going on here? When we do the steps and we live each day with all this information that we've acquired, I started about 5 years old, I guess. I was about 5 years sober. For me, these times the time that I was living started making sense because of what I'd done. I thought I was just doing this. I thought all the steps and all the stuff for the new people. I thought that's what that was for. You do the steps, you do this, you sit down here, you do your inventory. But it was a pattern for living. It was a pattern for living for me that I got in my bones because I ran the meeting for 17 years. And all these new people would come up and ask me questions. So it really became ingrained in who I was. And then I realized that's who you were. That's who you guys were. This Al, he just breathes this stuff. I mean, he's never faltered from the first day I met him. And man, it's just amazing. So anyways, after you start seeing all these, my mom died when I was about 3 years sober, and I was working for the ferry system. I was up at 4 o'clock to go to work, and I come out there with my mom laying dead in the front room floor. I didn't call the coroner. I called Al. I called Al. I didn't know that's who you call when you're in AA. You call your sponsor. And I wasn't calling anybody else. And so, we sat there and talked for quite a while, and then called the coroner and went to work and all this stuff. But I had remembered somebody else in AA who said that their mom had died and how they went through. And they said, AA kind of has a smart ass answer for just about everything. And a lot of the smart assness comes from whenever anything bad happens, people say, double up on your meetings. That's what you need to do. You need to double up on your meeting. And they say, the next person will raise their hand and they'll say, you need to say a serenity prayer. That's what you need to do. And I wanted someone to say, let me give you $10,000 so I can help you get through this time, Mike, or something like that. But we always have that deal going on. So anyways, it's really been a big deal to me to help new people out. Al got me started with the deal at Cedar Hills, but really at Fremont, we all kind of glommed onto the new people because we were all at the meeting every day, and we knew who was new, even if they didn't introduce themselves. And so it's really been a good deal for me to share what I have with the new people, and hope that I was glad Wade had my phone number when he wanted to come back to AA. I was really glad he had my phone number. Another guy called me. I can't tell you who it is, but another guy called me about 3:30 in the morning one time. He said, "Hey, Mike." I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He said, "The wife kicked me out of the house. I'm out in the garage." That's been about 6 years since I saw this guy. He said, "I'm out in the garage," and I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I found my old big book, and your number's in here." I said, "Well, you want me to come and get you?" What? He said, "No, I just want to make sure you're still around. I'll see you in the morning." But that guy's still sober. And to me, it's been, as we help other people, we get to see ourselves. And when we listen to them, we get to see where we're really at on that continuum of growth and where we're supposed to get to. And anyways, Al, I just can't tell you enough about Al. The last couple of things I wrote down was that now where I'm at, I really used to try to understand everything, to figure out A, B, C, D, and E, and how everything fit together and all that. And now I really don't care. I just want to experience it and see, as I'm going through it, what it means to me. And I don't need to know if on page 55 it means this or it means that. And it seems like we were all in a big hurry. It seems like when I got here, I was early in a big hurry. My biggest birthday isn't the last one. My biggest birthday in Alcoholics Anonymous was 90 days. 90 days. I remember I rode 3 buses to get to Fremont. I'm coming down from the Buckaroo. I'm walking down there, and I thought for sure Fremont was going to throw me a parade. I really did. I was looking for the streamers and all kinds of stuff. And nobody remembered it was my birthday. So why am I still here? Why are you guys still here? Well, it says more will be revealed. And I keep going to meetings because I want to keep hearing what you're doing. I want to keep hearing what happens when you get John's age. Not much. Not much. There you go. See? So I'm in the right place. And then I get to keep meeting new people like Doug over there. And Doug and I in the last 3 or 4 years have got to be really good friends. And just you keep meeting people along the way that fit into your brain or whatever. So the more will be revealed is, I remember working a 4-step with a guy. He killed a guy in his last drunk. And we were in a motorhome down at Richmond Beach, and we're going through his 5th step and stuff. We got down to the end, about 5 hours, and I think he had 163 resentments, which was about normal. We get done, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think you need to overcome some fear." That's really what it gets down to when you start writing down who you were, what happened, and what it's like now. It's fear, known and unknown. And if what you don't know is when you attack that, then you got a way to grow through that. So that guy's 40 years sober in April. His name was Bob. He's still sober. Anyways, lastly, now I know my best thinking got me here, but witnessing your stories has made me change and think about being successful. So now we have the power that allows us to remain undisturbed. That's my last thing. It's in step 10 of the 12 by 12. And it says, I hate this. I hate this deal. I don't agree with it, but we gotta do it. Step 10. It's a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there's something wrong with us. It doesn't make sense to me if the asshole cut me off on the freeway. That does sound like it. But I know it's an axiom, so we're supposed to believe in it. And when sobriety or something disturbs us, then there's something wrong with us. I can understand that maybe as a philosophical thing, and I know that big thing is to not be disturbed, but I think that the purpose of the 12 steps and the 12 traditions is that we get them into our system so much that we don't have to worry about what people think about us. We don't have to worry about what happens, because we know that our higher power that I call God has me, and that everything's going to be okay no matter what you think of me, no matter how many people cut me off, and no matter what's going on in the future. It's all planned out ahead of time. So what am I worried about? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is for me, it's only on a daily basis, and I'm not saying I'm good at it, because I'm not. But I'm glad to be here. So I'd like to thank you for inviting me. Thank you.